On the Sunday before the semester started, I did a big food prep to prepare for the first week of lectures, and I had a few other things to do on this day as well, so my goal was to be done in about 2.5 hours. I started by making a pasta sauce, and this was heavily inspired by the tofu bolognese by a German chef who has some recipes published on his site. I definitely took some shortcuts, but I will link the original recipe in the caption for your reference. The tofu is roasted until super crispy and almost dried out, and in the meantime you make the base of the sauce. That is a classic sofrito, which is then deglazed with white wine before adding spices and tomatoes. I left this to simmer away on the stove, and in the meantime I made the batter for a chocolate hazelnut banana bread to go in the oven after the tofu crumble. Whenever I meal prep, I try to time the different components as best as possible to make use of the oven as efficiently as I can, so that's why I prepped the batter for this banana bread. It's pretty simple to come together. I added chocolate chips, and the hazelnut flavor comes from quite a bit of hazelnut butter. I transferred the batter into a loaf tin, and this went into the oven to bake for about 55 minutes. Back to the pasta sauce, I added that baked tofu into the pot along with a bit of water, let it come to a simmer and cook away for about 30 minutes. In that time, the tofu will soak up quite a bit of the sauce, which for one, thickens the sauce, and for two, makes the tofu texture so unique and delicious. I cannot believe I didn't try this method earlier, to be honest. Next, I made some English muffins, which are so easy and rather quick to make. I rolled out the dough and then used a drinking glass to cut equal-sized muffins out of this, making sure to keep all of them dusted in semolina before letting them rest on a tray. Once you have used up all of the space in one sheet of dough, you're just going to roll it out again and repeat this process until all of the dough is used up. These need to rest for about an hour after cutting to make sure they puff up nicely and are fluffy once you cook them. In the meantime, I moved on to making the breakfasts, and if you have watched any of my videos before, you will already know what's coming. Of course, I prepped some oats. The base were some simple peanut butter overnight oats made with chia seeds, yogurt, soy milk, a bit of salt, and a good dollop of peanut butter. The topping, however, was a bit more exciting. I used some pears that I had on hand and cut these up into chunks, making sure all of them were about the same size. I sauteed the pears in a small pan until slightly softened before adding cinnamon and maple syrup, letting them cook for another few minutes to get kind of sticky and caramelized. I divided the oats between 2 jars before topping with these delicious pears and sprinkling some flaky salt on top. Since I had early morning lectures Monday and Tuesday, these came in so handy for a quick breakfast before rushing out the door. I then made the next component of this food prep, which was a tahini Caesar dressing. You're probably sick of seeing this, but to be honest, I am not sick of eating it. This dressing is made from things like tahini, nutritional yeast, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, and I simply mix it together in the jar and keep it in the fridge. Using the dressing we just made, I then prepped my lunch for the next 2 days as well, which was a radicchio Caesar salad with chickpeas. The actual salad was just some radicchio that I had thinly sliced, as well as fresh mint and parsley, and some of the Caesar dressing with a pinch of flaky salt. Then I made the base with cooked quinoa, some chickpeas and cucumber, and ideally the chickpeas would be crispy here, but to be honest, I didn't have the time or the energy to make crispy chickpeas on this day. I put the radicchio into separate containers to make sure nothing would get soggy, and it fit perfectly into these jars, which was very satisfying, and that concluded the lunch prep. I'll show you later how I ended up assembling the salad on the day of eating. At this point, the last step was baking the English muffins in a pan. They cook for about 7 minutes per side on medium heat, and I let them cool completely before storing them in the freezer. The banana bread had finished baking, so I cut that up and once again kept this one in the freezer to warm up whenever I needed a quick snack. And this completed the food prep. It took me about 2 hours and 15 minutes in total, and I was very well set for the week ahead. So now let's skip straight to Monday. Good morning. I am just having my oats before heading to my morning lecture at 8:30. That lecture is actually 3.5 hours until 12 p.m. and then I have a 30-minute break and another lecture until 2 p.m. So I'm probably going to be home at around 3 this afternoon. But to be honest, I'm pretty excited to get back into studying and learning something new and just keeping my brain occupied in a different way. Usually that motivation fades after a few weeks of the semester, but for now I'm looking forward to my new courses. I have just taken some time to set up my planner for the upcoming semester. I find this helps me stay on track and also make sure I know what to get done on a reoccurring weekly basis. And I also put the day and the time of the lecture every week, and I take notes on whatever I don't understand so that by the time exam season comes around, I know what I need to focus on. So I'm just gonna do probably about half an hour of note-taking now, and then we'll see. I'm probably gonna do a bit of organizing the slides as well, just so everything is in one folder on my iPad, because if it's like separate folders, I just get overwhelmed. So that's the plan for this afternoon. Let's get started. This banana bread is honestly not that great. I used a recipe I saw on Instagram and it looked good written down, but I think there's just too much cocoa powder. It's not bad. I'm still gonna eat all of it, but I'm probably not gonna make this recipe again. That's what I'm trying to say. But you know, it does look good. But I like the idea of a chocolate hazelnut banana bread. I am running 15 kilometers, just an easy run, low heart rate, shaking out the legs, because I have a workout on Thursday. As you can hear in the background, I'm currently in a meeting because my uni decided to have a meeting at 6:30. So I had to rush back from work, like actually rush, to make it in time. Because you can also only join in the first 5 minutes of, well, after they started. So I managed to join. And now that's going in the background, but I am very hungry, so I'm just gonna heat up some soup. This is the carrot coriander soup that I made in my last video. I'm just gonna heat this up, so that's just gonna be very quick, because I'm so hungry. It's kind of hard to make these videos interesting when most of my time is spent sat at my desk getting work done, and the rest of the time is either cooking, eating, or running. It was definitely easier a few weeks ago when I had so much free time to do so many fun things, but this afternoon one of my friends asked me to be her shopping companion, and of course I said hell yes. I'll take any excuse to get away from the desk for a bit. So we went into the city center to check out some shops. I honestly love being a shopping companion. I kind of look like the guy from The Good Doctor. I was gonna have the second serving of the tofu bolognese for dinner, but honestly, I don't really feel like having that. I feel like having something very hearty. So instead, I'm gonna make some soup. I do have some ginger, so probably gonna do that. Some garlic, carrot, lentils, pasta, parsley of course, some lemon. That should be nice and hearty and warming, because I'm a bit cold. I love soup. Good morning. I am going to do my workout now. This is in preparation for the half marathon that I'm going to be running next Sunday, and today is going to be the last hard workout before the race. It's basically 3 intervals of 4 kilometers at race pace with 1 kilometer rest in between, plus warm up and cool down. I've been doing this workout for the preparation of a few races now, and I feel like it's pretty effective. In terms of uni, I feel like it's never ideal to train for a race while having lectures and having to be very productive for those. And I usually try to have my races either on the semester break or have the majority of the training block be on the semester break. But for this race, it's only 2 weeks of balancing uni and running and work. The workout did go pretty well and I was happy with my splits. So once I ran back home, my spirits were high and the mood was great. For lunch, I made the tofu souvlaki by Conor Curran. I made this recipe quite a lot last winter because it's so good with roasted beets. And now that beets are back in season, I decided to make it again. I had marinated the tofu the day before because, for one, the flavor would get a lot better after a night in the fridge. And for two, I knew I'd be too hungry after my workout to start marinating some tofu. Du darfst ja nur eine bestimmte Anzahl an Spielern auf die Bank setzen. Fährst du da Fahrrad oder? I'm planning on doing a big session to work on an assignment this afternoon, but before I do that, I want to make a nice lunch. I have kind of a vision for what I want to make. I definitely need to use up some of the vegetables in my fridge. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make some kind of flatbread salad with a creamy dressing and some crispy tofu. I'm just gonna get started by making the salad. This is just a bit unfortunate. I've been working on that project or that assignment for like 4.5 hours. I just cannot be bothered to do anything else today. This is the end of my first week of uni. Quite productive, but I didn't feel like I was doing too much. I did make sure to do some other fun things to find that balance. I feel like I'm now in a pretty good place when it comes to balancing uni work and actual work and free time and YouTube. The past few semesters I've been either feeling very burnt out or pretty close to it. And I actually saw a reel today that picks up on that point of the time that feels wasted on things that are not work or study actually being the time that is most important in your life.
I wasted time today. I lay in bed with my fiance when I should have been getting ready. I played piano when I should have been sending emails. Googled beginner knitting kits when I should have been working. Sprawled out on my unmade bed texting my friends when I should have been washing my sheets. I cuddled my dog on the sofa when I should have been walking to the gym. I watched the sunset out my window when I should have been making dinner. I wasted time today and I'm proud of it because I don't think I'll look back on my life and regret the times I lay in bed with my fiance and played piano and Googled new hobbies and texted my friends and cuddled my dog and watched sunsets out my window. I think I'll just be proud I took a break from all the doing and let myself be.
I feel like that is a good note to end this video on. I hope you enjoyed watching my first week of uni. Have a great week ahead and I'll see you soon.